we're going to get into another case study, something that is a pride and joy for Public Foundation, and it's been an opportunity that began when the White House came to us and they said, we want to do a campaign. We want to do a campaign on water. They're like, how do we make water sexy? How do we make one of the most difficult topics sexy to children under 9 years old? And we did it. We ended up getting different media agencies and leaders in the conversation, from Sam Cass, who was the head of the health for the First Lady, and we were able to execute a campaign that was really one of the largest campaigns until Rachel got the phone call from the vice president and said, I want to do a campaign on sexual abuse. I saw what you guys did with water, executed a national campaign and made water sexy and cool and educated young children on how sugars are killing us. It's creating diseases, and it's just really cool to just drink water. And how do we use that movement? How do we use all of that you guys have created, but bring people together and educate them about how important it is, how sexual abuse in the colleges is something that we need to focus on. And again, that was also this case study. It was really something that came out of our last summit, where Jason from Mekanism and a few other folks came to us and they said, hey, you know what, we love what's going on here. We want to be involved. We want to be part of this conversation. And, you know, as Rachel got the phone call from the vice president, and he said, you know, I want to create a campaign. I want to do something bigger and better than what you did with the First Lady. And we want to use the power and the convening power of the White House. And again, that's why we're here, because we're the convening power of the United Nations. And we want to show you an example here with It's On Us. And we're going to have Jason, Rachel, Kyle, Ann, and Rose, please come up and show us and tell us a little bit about this campaign that became now one of the biggest campaigns in the history of the White House.
We're going to just show a 2.5-minute video to sort of lay the foundation of the campaign that we're going to talk about. So we'll start with the video.
I'm Barack Obama, and it's on us.
It's On Us is a cultural movement to fundamentally shift the way we think about sexual assault. Working directly with the White House and our partners, Generation Progress and Public, Mekanism strategized, concepted, and produced the It's On Us campaign. 1 in 5 women in the U.S. today is sexually assaulted while in college, most during their freshman and sophomore years. Only 13% report the crime, 40% fear reprisal from their attacker, and the problem is getting worse, so we needed to reframe the conversation. Instead of focusing on the 6% of men who commit sexual assault, we're focusing on the other 94% of men and women who can do something about it. Let's put the responsibility on all to fight campus assault, change the numbers forever. Launched by President Obama at the White House, It's On Us is a rallying cry, inspiring everyone to step up and realize the solution begins with you. It started with a celebrity spot attention.
It's on us to stop sexual assault,
which led to a pledge that became a viral badge, which in handing over the campaign, a movement was started. We launched with the #1 video on YouTube, 2 Twitter trending topics, over 2 billion impressions, and over 1 million visits to our site. Over 100 signed partners, over 1,000 colleges and universities have signed on and did their own PSA videos. Thousands of individual t-shirts have been purchased and worn. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken the pledge. It's a viral badge that is a symbol of courage, an icon of responsibility.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, we celebrate artists whose music and message help shape our culture. And together we can change our culture for the better by ending violence against women and girls. Artists have a unique power to change minds and attitudes and get us thinking and talking about what matters. Go to itsonus.org and take the pledge. And to the artists at the Grammys tonight, I ask you to ask your fans to do it too. Thanks.
It's on Us is a rallying cry for men, women, community leaders, role models, companies and organizations to say it's on us to change our culture for good.
So we should not have cast the voiceover stutter guy. That was a poor choice for the case study video. But we're going to spend 60 seconds going through a quick deck, if you can cue that up. Is that up there? There we go. So the badge that we created for the campaign, similar to the icons that Trollback did for Project Everyone, we created a really simple, adoptable language. We created a simple handle, It's On Us, which could be modified. These are all the partners: Generation Progress, White House, us. There's Rose. We gave her pink. Public. It was kicked off by the president. This shows you the modularity of what we developed. This is some West Point cadets wearing the T-shirts. It's a great image. EA, Electronic Arts, put the T-shirts in their games for The Sims. And real quick, just 5 takeaways from creating this campaign. We created something super simple. We recruited our friends, like Rose here. Golden Globe Emmy nominated, Rose, which helped spread our message, something she really believed in. We started it strong with some PSAs, and then we handed it over to the audience. We created a website where you could sign a pledge, customize the badge, and then download tools so you could create your own ad yourself or do a rally on your own college campus. So that was really sort of fundamental to creating success with the campaign. I'm not good with this clicker. And you could engage from simply signing the pledge and changing your profile to holding a rally. And then the 5th thing that we learned from this campaign is you don't sort of launch these campaigns and then go away. You have to launch them and really invest in the time and stick with it and be in it for the long haul. So that's sort of the setup of the campaign, and I think Rachel's going to ask us some questions about it.
Sure. So thank you, Jason, and thank you for your leadership and the leadership of Mekanism. Are there other folks from Mekanism here today? Hello. So the whole Mekanism team was amazing. Just to put together this campaign. There's a lot of people in this room who do wonderful campaigns. There's a lot of people in this room who do wonderful campaigns pro bono, but I have to say that working with the Mekanism team was a true joy because every day that they wanted to innovate, they pushed us forward. And it was really hard, I think, usually to get imaging agencies to want to do something so deeply on a social cause, but it wasn't that hard because the call we made to Jason started with a call I got from the White House. So I'd love to just pass the buck to Kyle to talk to us about that first call and why this is a priority for the White House itself. So Kyle Lierman is the Associate Director of the White House Office of Public Engagement.
Thanks so much, Rachel, and thanks for having me here. It's great to be with everyone. I want to be blunt. First off, I'm here to recruit all of you to join this campaign, so I just want to put that out there at the beginning here. A little over a year and a half ago, the Vice President and the President launched the White House Task Force to protect students on campus at the White House in January of 2014. And they were putting out their first report a year ago yesterday. And one of the 4 pillars of the report was that we needed to do a better job of public awareness and a better job of engaging men. And knowing that, the Vice President and his team asked me, I'm in the Office of Public Engagement, to pull together a group of folks who know sort of how to reach out to young people, know how to get to young people, know how to organize young people, and just to brainstorm on how we could talk about this. And we are not always the best messengers to young people at the White House, but the one thing we can do is call the best messengers from the White House. So I called Rachel and I called Ann, and we pulled together a group of about 12 folks who sat around the Roosevelt Room table with the Vice President, having a conversation with him about how we could sort of address this issue, how we could blow this up, and make sure that everyone around the country understood that it was their responsibility to step up. And the Vice President, Rachel, was just retelling this story a little earlier today, literally sort of said, I do not know how to do this, but you guys know how to do this, and I need you to take it and run with it. And Jason told the Vice President he'd do that in the room. So Jason went back and developed a few concepts, a few ideas, and came back to us, and we fell in love with It's On Us. And then our partners at Generation Progress, who housed the campaign, offered to house the campaign, which is incredibly important. And so it came together really over that one summer. We built the whole thing. I had phone calls with 425 student body presidents on campuses around the country, talking to them about sort of the tools and the things that they would need to be empowered to do this organizing on their campuses. And then we called our partners, we called our friends, we called Rose, we called Electronic Arts, we called the NCAA, and asked them all to be a part of this movement and launch this campaign with us at the White House. And we did that on September 19th of last year.
So, Ann, tell us about Generation Progress. Tell us what it means to house the campaign and everything that's happened grassroots since it launched.
Awesome. Thanks for inviting me to be here with you all today. So Generation Progress is an organization that works with young people age 18 to 35 on a whole bunch of different issues that young people care about. So we work on everything from college affordability and student debt to jobs and climate change and LGBT rights. And one of the things that we have is an ability to organize and engage young people. And we work a little bit on policy and sort of the DC policy world, but we do a lot of organizing on college campuses and with young people who are either non-college youth or post-college. And we have a pretty robust communications mechanism. So we work with we work through all the platforms that young people use, from Snapchat to Twitter and Facebook and all of those, and we really try to communicate the way that young people communicate around causes that young people actually care about. And our job and our mission in life is to empower those young people with the tools that they need to be able to create change in their communities, at the state level, at the national level, at the global level. So as we started talking with the White House and team about this, the It's On Us campaign, we were so excited to get this campaign into the hands of young people to be able to take it and really run with it. So since the campaign launched in September of last year, it's like 7-8 months ago now, we've had just a ton of pickup, both sort of nationally, but on the individual level as well. So we've made, I think we're close to 3 billion impressions with the campaign now. The first weekend we launched the campaign, we actually had over 1 billion Twitter impressions in 72 hours. So again, this is an audience that communicates through Twitter, and so when you give them a hashtag that they can use and you tell them to take a pledge and then go to Twitter and tweet about that pledge that they just took to their friends, young people will do that, and they did. So we've had a couple 100,000 people, just over 200,000 people have taken the pledge at itsonus.org. Lots of Twitter, lots of Facebook, lots of Instagram, lots of shareables are happening around the country. But I think the coolest thing is that young people aren't just doing an online action, it's moving to offline organizing and engagement as well. So we've done 2 national weeks of action on college campuses in the last 8 months. We've had over 650 in-person events on those college campuses, and those range from pledge drives to the cadets at the Army-Navy game wearing their T-shirts and taking the pledge together during the game, to rallies, to roundtable discussions. We're working with the Greek community to try to get the bystander intervention training into fraternities. So working directly with those, with that community on campuses. And again, it's like we really just want to get this campaign into the hands of the people who are having these conversations and need to be having these conversations moving forward.
Excellent. And I think what was so exciting about this campaign is that it did launch with so much support from so many visible people, the president notwithstanding. I think that's what really enabled us to reach the audiences we have with the incredible creative from Mekanism. So, Rose, I'd love to turn to you. You were in our very first PSA. What drew you to the cause? And maybe there are some things about this cause that people might not know, statistics, et cetera, that maybe they should.
I was Yeah, really drawn to the cause. I didn't realise the statistic very naively was so high that it was 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men that would, suffer from sexual assault on a college campus, which I just thought was horrific. I mean, it's, totally unacceptable that women feel they're in danger while they're on a college campus when, it's stressful enough, and with the pressure of college and it's so expensive, it's the last thing you need. It's like totally unacceptable, and everybody should have the ability to live without any, threat of sexual assault. So, and there's a lot of shame around the issue, which I thought was very, really profound, and that's why it needs to be a conversation amongst everybody and not just hidden away, and there was a quiet tolerance around it, that it was just very insidious and pervasive on these campuses. So that's why this campaign is so brilliant, because it's addressing it and making it a solution that we can all be part of, and making it part of a real cultural shift, which is very, very important. It needs to start with, faces like me that may be familiar, and, that's what an actor or a musician, or there's so many people that's been involved, can sort of shine a bit of a spotlight on it.
I completely agree, and I think especially your point about the shame is so real, and people can see bravery in your face and feel then that they can take a stand and share their truth, and I think it's amazing that you've lent your stature to this cause. I wanted to just follow up and ask a question. Do you think that there's real opportunity for people who have recognition to lend their stature and credibility to causes, and have you seen that work effectively?
I think so. I mean, I think you can't underestimate the power of influencers like artists and musicians and actors and sports people and whatever. I think they do have great draw, and people look to them as role models, and so I think any sort of voice that we can lend, or inspiration that a face can lend to start talking about it and to take away from the shame of it is hopefully beneficial.
Well, thank you. I would definitely say that in our case, having so many people who do have recognizable faces and names in our original PSA, I think made a big difference. We actually launched a PSA that Jason crafted and scripted that had athletes, musicians, it had actors, it had all sorts of artists, and so we actually were able to cut across many of the different threads. If you're a music person, if you're a film person, etc., you were able to find someone who was singing out your chorus saying it's on us. So I'd love to ask Kyle, what's next? What's the president and the vice president thinking about this campaign? The school year is almost over. Have we hit a home run, or is there work to do?
Absolutely. So I do think in terms of the campaign, we've hit a home run. There is so much left to do when it comes to sexual assault and stopping it before it happens. The 2 pillars of the campaign are really asking people to jump in and stop it before it happens, so bystander intervention. And the second big one is we all need to create an environment and a culture where sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported. And those 2 messages are important on college campuses especially, but they can apply to a much broader set of the public. So what we're doing now is, making sure that we're going to institutionalize this on college campuses. So I unfortunately cannot have conversations with 425 student body presidents every summer. And we want this to be an ongoing campaign that happens every year as students are getting back to school. So we're institutionalizing it within student governments, activist groups, and administrations on campuses across the country. And then we're broadening it out. You heard the president actually at the Grammys talking about it from a little bit of a broader frame of stopping and combating violence against women and girls. So one of the things we're talking about right now is It's on Us communities. How can we pull together firefighters, police officers, community leaders, rape crisis centers in a community? How can we talk about organizing at the local level? How can we talk about organizing and talking to high school students? Because this sometimes obviously starts earlier than college. So how are we going to broaden it out? It's not an easy task, and Anne and her team and this whole team has done an incredible job of making it happen, but it's really how do we build out from here? And the other thing I just say that's so important about sort of this public-private partnership model is we've got about 19 months left in the administration. And the nice thing about It's on Us is that it's not going anywhere. It is at a nonprofit, it's at 501c3, and it's going to live on after this administration. And I can promise you the vice president, my boss, Valerie Jarrett, Tina Chen, the First Lady's chief of staff, and a whole host of folks are going to be working on it and campaigning on it long after we leave the White House as well.
Excellent. So Just in closing, I'm supposed to ask why you think we made this campaign so successful, but I think we've already covered that. I'd love to know, what are your favorite moments in the campaign, and where do you hope this issue is by the time the president leaves office, each of us, just to feel like we've achieved something different and bigger than we could have hoped for. So Jason, what's your favorite moment from the campaign?
I don't know if there's a favorite moment. I just, it's been really amazing to see the It's On Us movement not taper off. You know, usually you launch with a PSA or a spot or a campaign and it sort of peters out. So I don't know if it's a particular moment, but the fact that the campaign has hit a nerve among the millennial audience and then has just been sustainable, I think that's probably the best part of the campaign.
He's not telling you that he also designed red solo cups that say "It's on us."
What people at my company, just so to be clear. I feel like I'm getting all the credit, but that's
there
not.
There was a spring break part of the campaign that I thought was pretty great recently. Anne, do you want to take that? Your favorite moment?
Well, I have a good favorite moment that happened like a week and a half ago. So there's many great moments of this campaign, but the vice president actually said to us, I want to go visit a campus that has been doing really amazing work. And so there was a young man at the University of Illinois who was the vice president of the student body at the University of Illinois, and he's just been a fantastic organizer. We've been working with him all year. He's hosted like 15 events on their campus, and their roundtable discussions, and their pledge drives, and all these really cool things. So we called him, and we were like, okay, Matt, the vice president's going to be there in 4 days, so we're going to do a rally. We're going to get it pulled together. And he was phenomenal. Got the marching band, the University of Illinois marching band played around the gym while all the students were gathering. But the best part of the day was when the real vice president tweeted at vice president of the Illinois student body and said, from one VP to another. Whoa, cool. It's the lights go down. The tweet said, from one VP to another, thanks so much. And this young man, Matt, was dying. He was so happy. I mean, this was like retweeted all around. Everyone in our office was emailing the tweet around, and we were all like so happy for him and for what this means. And I think there's also a piece, honestly, that's connecting young people with a way to actually create change in their lives that has been so inspiring to see, to just watch these young people say, this is an issue, we're going to do something about it, and we've been able to give them the tools to be able to actually go and do that. And it's a joy and it's inspiration to watch that.
And just quickly on that, I actually got an email from Matt 3 days after the event, and he said, Kyle, I just wanted to thank you and the Vice President for coming out to Illinois. I wanted you to know that I wasn't even remotely involved in any of this work before the It's On Us campaign started. So you're really seeing it kind of build organizers and build ambassadors around the country. My favorite moment, just a quick personal note and story, the day the president launched the White House task force to protect students on campus, my sister called me. She's my big sister. She's 8 years older than me. And she called me to say thank you and tell the president and the vice president thank you. I was raped when I was at Dartmouth, and it's just incredible to see that the president is taking this on in such a big way. And I actually got to bring my sister to the White House for the launch on September 19th, and Valerie Jarrett literally sent her aide to the crowd to grab my sister and bring her back to meet the president on the launch day. So that was pretty cool.
At the launch, last year, there was a young woman who got up, a survivor, who spoke, who was incredibly brave and moving and candid and articulate and erudite, and she shared her story as an example and also spoke about not wanting to be defined by it, and it was a very powerful and incredible thing that was, shared with everybody. And I hope, next time we have a panel, there's a zero statistic, not a 1 in 5. So go. It's like.
I think that's
So can I quickly, in the spirit of recruiting you all, if you can all pull out your phones. Everyone pull out your phones and hold them above your head. I know you're looking at them. All right, now I need you to go to itsonus.org and take the pledge and share it.
What are they pledging?
So they're pledging to step in and stop a sexual assault before it happens, They're pledging to create that environment that we talked about where sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported. And frankly, you guys can be ambassadors on this. You guys can bring in your media capacity. You can bring in the influencers and folks that you work with. You guys can spread this message around the country and around the world just as much as we can. So we need each and every one of you to be a part of it. You can email partners@itsonus.org if you want more information, and we're all going to be here. So we'll keep talking with you guys after this.
Hold on, stay.
Just in closing, I just want to say one thing. We were last year. I was sitting here when PVBLIC kicked this off, and it was an inspiring day like today is, and we just raised our hand and said, hey, we really want to do something, and by doing that, it's been incredible for the company, the culture of the company, the spirit of the company, and to think about moving forward with everyone in this room today, not just for It's On Us, but for 2015 time for global action. If everyone pitches in and does something, not only can it be the world's largest advertising campaign, I would argue it could be the world's most important advertising campaign. And people in this room can make that happen just by raising your hand and doing something.
That's exactly right. So the last thing I'll say as Kyle walks away, the last thing I'll say is that my favorite moment of this campaign was in the very beginning when Jason pitched 5 different campaign ideas to the White House, because some of them were really nuts. And some of them were really great. And the reason that I believe the Vice President picked It's On Us is because this is a really hard, shame-filled, heavy topic to discuss. It has the word assault in it, and it's not a fun thing. But It's On Us made this a rallying cry that's positive. That's not, this is a problem, oh no, let's talk about how serious it is. It's, this is a problem and it's on us, and together we can solve it. And so I love taking this difficult, tricky, sticky, heavy subject and turning it into something positive that we can all say that because we were involved, 0%, as Rose said. Next time, 0 in 5. So I want everyone to talk about It's On Us, but talk about it with a rallying call of support and pride in what we can make happen, what these incredible 4 people are already making happen. So as we talk about It's On Us, have a smile on your face. It might be serious, but we're getting there. Thank you.